What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Bullets Gotti. We back at it again. So, this video that I'm doing, this conversation piece that I'm doing, if y'all don't know now, you know. This is about the Diddy documentary. If you didn't watch it, I watched all 4 episodes yesterday on Netflix. I finished watching it around like 5 o'clock. I put it on in the afternoon and I finished watching it around like 5 o'clock yesterday. You know. No, actually I finished watching it at 6. It wasn't even 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock yesterday. So, for people that watch the documentary, they say, oh, that's 50. It's really not 50's documentary. It's, I forgot the young lady name that did the documentary, Angela, I think her name is Staunton or something like that. I forgot her last name, but she's the one that did the documentary. She's the one that did the documentary on Reggie Jackson for Amazon. She's the one that basically did this documentary. A lot of people was asking where they got the footage. The footage came from a dude that was basically doing filming work for Diddy. A guy that was doing, taking pictures, doing photography work for Diddy. And he gave the footage to Netflix or however it went. He gave the footage. Now, this is my opinion on the documentary, right? You got Kurt Burrows, got Tim Dog, Butt Naked Tim Dog. You got Mark Curry, Roger Bonds. I think Babs is in there. Aubrey O'Day, Eric Sermon. So it's a lot of, those are the people that's in there, right? In this documentary. And then you got the jurors. The jurors spoke the real. They didn't believe a word that Cassie said. Capricorn Clark is also in there. They didn't believe a word that Capricorn Clark and none of them said. They knew they was full of cap. We all know they was full of cap. Now, this is my thing, right? There's a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of lies in the documentary. If you watch it, it's a lot of lies in there. A lot of lies. For people to get on there and say that Puff did this, Puff did that, right? This is my thing, right? Because I seen Eric Sermon was in there, right? Eric Sermon was in there talk about how he was dealing with Nisa and all that. We all knew that. That was no news. People been knew that for years, right? But I just kind of trying to figure out, Eric Sermon, where all this energy coming from? Like, dog, like, where's all the issues coming with Puff since he been locked up? You talking all this about Puff, Puff, Puff. And I'm trying to figure out where's all this coming from? You know what I'm saying? Because dudes that you ran with don't have the issues. Like shout out to Keith Murray. He give Puff his flowers for putting him on records. But I don't understand how Eric Sermon has so much issues with Puff that he talking about a situation that happened. And this is the thing. This is the crazy thing, right? Why nobody asked Eric Sermon? Yo, Eric, you had Keefy D. You had a Lando Anderson in your video with you and Redman when y'all was out there in Cali. Those was your peoples. Why nobody asking Eric Sermon, yo, what's up with that? What's up with, like, and then they had Greg Caden, who's a liar, you know, who's covering up for the LAPD. Everybody knows, right, that Pac and Big was killed by police. Okay? If it was what they wanted to say, it was gang members that did it, right? Why did the LAPD wanted the case open, shut, and closed? They didn't have no killer for Pac's case or Biggie's case. They kept talking about this money that zipped. They never found this money. Keefy D, they was coaching Keefy D to say what they said. You know what I'm saying? So why is people giving Greg Caden any type of light where he's just making up shit? When they brought the man up here to New York to do the interview, to do the conversation with Keefy D, not Keefy D, with Zip. Zip was talking about businesses, clubs and all that. Puff ain't never had a relationship with Zip. Everybody know, and I seen it had, the homie from Mansfield in there, the dude D1. But everybody know that Puff had a relationship with only one dude from Mansfield, and that was D-Mac. You know what I'm saying? That was his mans. He ain't never had a relationship with no Keefe D or no Orlando Anderson. They kept lying about that, even when it comes to the Platinum House situation. And Mark Curry wrote it in his book. He should have checked that shit. That's like I checked him on Clubhouse about that. When I told him, yo, that that didn't happen, what Greg was talking about with a dude, Suge lifting him up and all that. He know that didn't happen like that. He know what really happened in that situation. You know what I'm saying? What happened in that situation was it was dudes from the Valley. The cat is deceased now. The Jason dude is the one that shot and killed Big Jake. You know what I'm saying? Who ended up getting killed by Atlanta police outside of Magic City. You know what I'm saying? Who got killed outside of Magic City. And this is right after the situation. Right? So what I'm not understanding is, like, why is, dudes trying to make it what it ain't. Like, you got Kurt Burrows talking about, that was over a girl that him and Suge was messing with. That wasn't over no girl that him and Suge was messing with. That was over Nicole Cook, right? And the argument was not even a Puff and Suge argument. It was a situation with Wolf and Suge. Son wrote it in his book, okay, and Dancing with the Devil. You know what I'm saying? The argument was about that situation with Shorty, right? And it was about how they knew her from California because she's from LA. They knew her from LA, right? They knew her very well. So they didn't understand why she was supporting all the Bad Boy and the New York dudes, right? Because she was from Cali like them, right? That was what the issue was about. It had nothing to do with no Puff and him with some other chick. It ain't had nothing to do with that. That's a lie. Then they saying the dude was right up on him. Like, come on, Mark. You even said it, man. They came across the street, started blicking at Jake and Suge. You understand what I'm saying? Even Suge said in his interview. They came across the street, started blicking. It wasn't none of that with he basically saying that Kurt Burrows sat up there and said a whole lie, bro. That didn't happen like that. And this is the same man that reached out to Gene Dale that went to see Puff and was trying to squash it. But I understand when niggas is broke and they ain't got no money, they do grimy, wretched shit. Just cruddy shit. I'm looking at Mark Curry. Mark Curry, he up there crying, talking about, yo, son gonna get his, man. He got everything coming to him. Like, come on, bro. You look crazy, dog. You blew your money messing with the cartel. You know what I'm saying? You blew your money dabbling in the streets. You need to tell the full truth how you came to Puff. You didn't come to Puff because, you was doing music. You came to Puff on street timing. D-Mac brought you to Puff. You know that. Because I told him, I said, you started with Heavy D first. Then you went from Heavy D, you went to Puff through D-Mac. That's how you got to Puff. Because you was there when the joint popped off at the Platinum House. V was your mans, and D-Mac was your mans. These was your mans. So why is you out here putting that false propaganda out there like you was doing this and doing that? Like, come on, bro. Dude bitter. You squashed it with Puff. You was when Black Rob died, you was singing Puff praises, talking about, yeah, Puff did right by Black Rob, man. Yo, you was like this. You was arguing with dudes. Then all of a sudden, Puff get jammed up. It's F Puff. I'm back on Puff neck. Like, come on, dog. Like, y'all dudes it's like it's desperation, and it's when dudes is broke and they done fumble the money on coke and on women, and then they mad because they not in a position. That's what that documentary was about, man. Like, they keep trying to put it on Son, and it's crazy. They told him about the Steve Stout situation. The man told the man take him out the video. And he not even telling the full truth about that. Talking about, oh, I was sitting right there. Nigga, you was there. You went with them. You wrote it in your book that you went with Wolf, you went with Ock, and you went with D-Mac. You put their names in the book. Then you trying to say, oh, I ain't go with them. I was continue writing. Like, come on, bro. Dudes got to stop the capping, bro. Dudes got to stop the capping. Because that to me, that ain't real, man. That's not real, bro. Like, even with Bonds, man, like why? The man helped you out, gave you a lawyer for your son. It was, what more could he do? What more could he do? He helped you out. What more could he do? You know what I'm saying? They told him, yo, you doing the wrong thing. He helped out your son. He helped him out. He got a lawyer for him. Why is you online still doing this, man? I can't respect men that do things like that, bro. You know, you got the shorty Kalina that was with Dirty Money. She over there. You fuck with Puff. Why you dragging him? Why you dragging them? If you saying these chicks is lying, you ain't never seen none of this, why did you do what you did? You should have been defending this man. He going through something. You asking him to do this, he can't help you. The Lil Rod dude, he lied. I don't know why they still listen to him. He's a liar. They proved he lied. You know what I'm saying? And the jury, like what they were saying, like the Indian dude and the lady that was the female, the young lady that was on there, the black chick, she was like, yo, it didn't seem like what they was trying to say. So these is common sense jurors that's like, nah, that don't sound like what they saying. You know what I'm saying? And those is jurors that use their head. You need more jurors like that, because you got some jury people that just be on some BS. Like, if they was on R. Kelly's case and on Bill Cosby's case, they would see that a lot of these people be lying. Common sense is everything, bro. And on this case, it was a common sense thing. These women was lying. Everybody was not. They wasn't telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, they making all this horror stories. Not to say things don't happen, but come on. It don't add up. You got one chick talking about, oh, yo, he did me like this, and you know, in 1991, and I couldn't live my career and live with myself. Like, come on, bro. I saw it through the BS. You wanted a baby. You wanted to be the nigga girl, and you didn't get in the plans. He moved on. That's life. Niggas moved on. Cassie wanted. They said in their thing. Cassie. Like Shorty said, Cassie wanted to be a mother, wanted his baby, and wanted to live the life. But the thing is, Cassie wasn't part of the plan. You know what I'm saying? Cassie was just thirsty. You gotta look at that girl's whole makeup, her whole aesthetic, what she was doing. Her life just shows you the type of chick she is. Like, when I watched that documentary, right? And anybody that watched that shit, bro, it was a hit piece, man. They attacked that man mama. You know, they attacked Kim Porter and his kids. They got to watch these dudes and creeps like Albie Shore, because Albie Shore's a creep, bro. And he's a clown. You mad at a dude because he took the woman for you, because you was out there smashing all these industry chicks, right? You was dealing with Nikki Gilbert. You was dealing with Rolanda. You was dealing with all these women in the industry. You was dealing with so much women in the industry that you didn't, and you had other kids out there when you was with Shorty, right? So Puff stood up and did what men do. Took care of your son, raised your son. You know, your son look at him as dad. He don't look at you as the same that he look as Puff. And you mad that he called that man his father, that he loved that man like a father, that man was his superhero, when you was basically out there chasing coke, chasing women, and really not caring about that you had your sons out there. So that's jealousy. That's jealousy because I'll be sure fading into obscurity and Puff just kept climbing. You can't get mad at a nigga that keep climbing. Like, does everybody feel like you? No. Everybody in the Vernon coming on platform saying, yo, we don't, like, I don't hear Eddie F saying these things about Puff. The man that taught him everything about this producing shit. It's you because you mad at Puff surpassed you in the game and stayed relevant. You know? And yeah, he was the dude that was the intern. He was the dude that was running around, putting on events with Sister Soldier and doing things like that and doing community outreach stuff and party promotion. So people didn't think that Puff was going to be who he became. And it's all out of jealousy that dudes is mad. Now, the thing with Puff and 50, people keep talking about, oh, it's about his baby mom. It had nothing to do with his baby mom. I don't know why people keep saying that. Like, 50, you know, I don't even think it's issues because, you know, 50, like, if you know, he had dealings with, you know, well, his baby mother said it with Misa, but that been a rumor for a long time that him and Misa had a relationship because when he did the hip hop diss track on Puff, he said, yo, you want me to tell you why you want me to do this? And I'll tell you what Misa told me. And that was back in 06, 07. But that was over like the issues about the Mace thing and how, Mace was basically, he had Mace on tour with him and he wanted to sign Mace, but Puff wouldn't let him go because he wanted $2 million. He owed $3 million, but he wanted $2 million, and Jimmy Iovine didn't give. He gave him 1.9 or 1.8, but Puff wanted that. He wanted that $2 million, and Jimmy Iovine said no. So that was where the issue, started there, and then from there it just cooled down, and then the Rick Ross thing. So I understand where it come from. It come from the affiliation with Rick Ross, Puff standing next to Rick Ross, helping Rick Ross, and then the thing with the Mace thing. And, I don't know where people get this that Puff blackballed 50. He never blackballed 50. The dude that blackballed 50 was Irv. Irv was the one that basically, you could say, blackballed him. That had the relationships. And the others like Jay-Z. You could say Jay-Z and Irv and people that was affiliated with that side. They didn't, but it didn't have nothing to do with Puff because Puff, like he said, Puff put money in his pocket. He wrote for Puff. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like, oh, nigga wasn't eating. He was eating. When he came, like he said, when he was going through what he was going through, he was writing for Puff. Even when he came after from being shot, he went back to writing for Puff. And then he wrote for Trackmasters. So he was getting money. Trackmasters and Bad Boy kept him eating until he got his individual deal. But Puff just didn't want to sign him, and he said it on his documentary because the situation with Sean and the heat in the streets, and he really didn't want that. He really didn't want the heat in the streets. He really didn't want the issues from what he had with the whole Sean shit, with the whole Club New York. He was just coming off of that. So he didn't really want that attached, and that's understandable. But when people go and say, oh, 50 doing this because he got blackballed, no, 50, no, that's not true. You understand what I'm saying? 50's a businessman. I get it. He's a businessman. He attaches himself to a lot of projects. He's a businessman. You know what I'm saying? He's a smart businessman. He's doing what businessmen and what people do. Spike Lee used to do that. A lot of people, a lot of directors do that. They put their name, directed by this one, directed by that one. You know what I'm saying? And the project is greenlit. So it's understandable. But it wasn't his project. It was the girl's project. But like I said, the chick that did it, it was a hit piece. It was a hit piece. But it didn't have anything to do with 50. I don't know why people saying, oh, 50 got blackballed. He never got blackballed by the man. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about, his issues with Puff don't got nothing to do with no baby mother. His issues with Puff have to do with him standing next to Rick Ross the Mace situation, business-wise, a lot of his beef with Puff is on some business shit, really. So, I don't know where people get that. But, push past the bumper clock. This documentary just shows that the lows that dudes will stoop to basically, to get on platforms. And they sound like bitter baby mamas, bro. Every last one of them dudes, from Barnes to Mark Curry, Tim Dog, bitter baby mamas. And I don't understand why Tim Dog, man, because that was your means. That was your means. You, Buck, L, Wolf, y'all had a whole crew together. Why would you go do your means like that? Somebody that you broke bread with, somebody that you've been in the game with for how many years, somebody that looked at you as a brother, and you went online and just been on these documentaries just slamming him and his moms. That's foul, bro. That's foul. You know, and Kurt Burrows, he got to stop with all this. Kurt Burrows, what people need to understand is the original owners of Bad Boy is Puff, Buck, who's still with Puff, Corey Buck Jacobs, Wolf, and L, who's incarcerated, and they was involved with Bad Boy. Kurt Burrows was legit because he was in the industry, the movie industry and the music industry, and he was a legitimate guy. So that's how he was able to get Bad Boy afloat, because he was able to help them get the money from Clive Davis and all that because of his legitimacy in the industry and being in the movie industry. But for him to say he was like, come on, dog, you know who money that was running in that. That was Puff, that was Wolf, that was Buck, that was L, you know what I'm saying, that was Ock. They was investigating Bad Boy for years, okay? For years, they was investigating Puff. These people wanted Puff for a long time. You understand what I'm saying? They wanted him for a long time. They didn't like the man. You know what I'm saying? You know, I tell the real truth of how he got fired from Uptown. It was Mark Siegel that got him fired from Uptown. This is facts. You know what I'm saying? This is facts. That's how he got fired. You know what I'm saying? They got tired of him and, you know, the things that he was doing. You know what I'm saying? Once he left Uptown, Uptown died. Puff was the foundation of that label. It died. So, people say what they want about Puff, man, but Puff was a genius, and these dudes are just bitter, bro. Like, to look at how these dudes just sat up there and try to put Pac and Biggie murder on that man, that is crazy. When they know Puff was supposed to die that night. It's just, they ran the light, and Biggie's truck stayed there. But Puff was supposed to die, just like how Suge was supposed to die in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Those wasn't hits by no gang members. Those was orchestrated hits done by fucking the police. That was LAPD. And they know that. That's why they try to put it on gang members and say, oh, Suge ordered this hit from Poochie and Puff ordered this hit from the Crips. Like, come on, bro. All they doing is lying. Suge never hired Capricorn Clark. He ain't know no Capricorn Clark. He said on the podcast, Reggie Wright brought Capricorn Clark to death row. And Reggie Wright forced himself on Capricorn Clark and made her have sex with him. That's what Suge said. So we shouldn't listen to anything she got to say. If she ain't talking about Reggie Wright, then why we listen to anything she talking about? So when y'all talking about Quad Studios, Puff ain't had nothing to do with Quad Studios. That was Brooklyn dudes. That was Haitian Jack. That was the 90s General, the one that was Little Sean's co-defendant. That was Nubs. And those are the people that was involved with that, and other people that also knew from Brooklyn knew what was gonna happen. That's what happened, bro. That's what happened. You understand what I'm saying? That ain't had nothing to do with Puff. Puff ain't had nothing to do with that. Puff came in, he was talking, he came in from shooting, warning, and then he got there, gun get pulled on him. But he ain't no Pac was getting shot. Why people keep trying to say that? Pac never said Puff was involved. All he said was, they ain't let me know what happened. He ain't say, oh, Puff was the one responsible. He told you who was responsible on the diss track. He told you who knew. Jimmy already told you in the video what was supposed to happen. They was there to discipline him. He gave you the play-by-play. He said it in the video. He didn't say, oh, Puff was there and Puff know they was going to discipline Pac. No. He said what had happened, what was going to happen, and what was supposed to happen. They was there to discipline Pac. That was what it was. You understand what I'm saying? Had nothing to do with no Puff. So why people keep trying to say Puff had something to do with Quad? It had nothing. Me had nothing to do with Quad. Had nothing to do with Quad. They talk about Muscle Gang. Like, come on, dudes talk smack in records. Every rapper talk smack on records. That don't mean it got something to do with a nigga placing a bag on a nigga. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. They knew what happened to Pac. They know what happened to Big. They know. Russell Poole solved the case. They knew that it was Greg Caden. The case got shut down because Greg Caden did a lot of illegal tactics in his case. You understand what I'm saying? They basically put words in Keefe D's mouth. They coached Keefe D. This is documented. So how are we going to take anything that Greg Caden say or anything that anybody say when they're just lying? And then you got Kurt Rose like, oh yeah, I know that he's responsible for Tupac and Biggie's death. That's a lie. Pac and Puff had a relationship before Biggie and Pac. They knew each other way before Biggie and Pac. So what is people talking about? Puff knew this man. You understand what I'm saying? They knew each other. That's why he felt hurt that, yo, them niggas should have let me know what happened. But they ain't know what happened. They ain't had nothing to do with them. Those was Brooklyn dudes. And they know it was Brooklyn dudes that was involved with the situation at Quad Studios. They know it was Brooklyn dudes. They know when they came up there, you know, when the 90s General and Son came up there to do what it do, they came there for one particular reason, was to take the bracelet and discipline Pac. It wasn't to shoot him, it was to take the bracelet. But Pac wasn't gonna get shot. Man had the gun in his, he told you to play-by-play in Vibe. The man had the gun in his stomach and he was trying to get the gun from his stomach so he didn't get shot. That's how the gun and all that shit jumped off. But to say that Puff, no, he just felt the way like, oh, all these niggas got their jewels and I'm the only nigga that got yak. But what people don't understand is that wasn't Puff. Puff ain't had nothing to do with that. The only reason why he was mad with Puff and Big was that the Who Shot You record. That was the only reason why he was mad. And then nobody was reaching out. Puff, nobody. That was his biggest issue. But as far as these dudes talking about he had something to do with Pac and Big Murder and Quad, like, stop it, bro. Eric Sermon, he need to stop it too. You had the whole come on, son. You had Orlando Anderson in your video. You and Redman and Keefe D. What are we talking about, bro? You know what I'm saying? And what is your gripe? Like, come on, bro. You and Misa Ben stop dealing with each other. What is your gripe with Puff for all these years? Like, come on, bro. Like, I didn't understand why Eric Sermon in there. Like, why? Why? You ain't talk about this story before. Now you want to talk about it? Like, I don't get these dudes, man. But hey, it is what it is, man. It's your boy Bullets Gotti. Salute.